December 10th, year 2020. In this recording, I intend to shed some light about the relationship between parents, biological parents, and children. Your biological parents are your physical creators. Your biological parents are your physical creators. Certainly, the mother and the father came together and made a decision to give birth to you. But they never knew that the baby who's going to come out is you. They had expectations, ideas, desires, needs and wants that they would like to fulfill from their child. So when they gave birth to you physically, they were loaded with the conditioning, the programming handed over to them from their mother, father, through their genealogy. And certainly, after giving birth to your physical form, on the physical level, you were vulnerable. Therefore, you had to learn to depend on them. Hence, you choose to consider them as your creators, donors, biggest donors of life, caregivers, fundamentally the gods or the Buddhas at home, the ones who knew your beginning, who you were. But the beginning of your birth is only known to them at the physical level. Did they ever knew what kind of soul, what kind of energy being you have come to be, come to do, come to know? They never knew it. But they certainly, in the process of raising you, programmed and conditioned you based on their model of the world. So they were raising you not as you, but as their reflection of an ideal child. I'm wondering how many parents silently cried for how many times, how many years, and how many tears that they would have shed, worrying about the child they are raising, fearing about the child they are raising, that he or she would not become what they want him or her to be, fearing for their future, living with anxiety. I don't know. I'm wondering how many parents might have even thought, why and how did I create this kind of child? Why did I receive this kind of child? What the hell or heaven brought this child to me? I know these words are not spoken out loudly, but action speaks louder than words. Many parents behave if you carefully look at the way they behave, most of the time in their life they behave in a way that reflects their thinking, that they wish they did not have this kind of child because this child is not meeting their expectations. And certainly you as a child did not come to meet anyone's expectations other than fulfill your own expectations during this lifetime. That's why from the beginning, even in the process of giving a name to you, it was a whole battle and a conflict. Certainly, when you fulfill their expectations, when you fuel their ego, when you satisfy their needs, their desires, when you were fitting into their model of the world of a child, they praised the God for sending you. They were proud about their own accomplishments because they were the creators of you. So in that moment they were thinking, thank the heaven for sending this child to me. But they could not love you when you were not meeting their expectations. So I would like to debunk this whole idea, this misconception, this delusion the majority of mankind lived for so many generations, that the parents' love is unconditional. No, it is not unconditional. It was always conditional from generation to generation. Now, there's a good side to this story. Because their love was conditional, you were becoming the person you are now. Because there were so much of conditions. Based on the conditions, they decided which school you should go, which subject you must learn, which kind of partner you must marry, what kind of job you should do, what kind of car you should drive, what kind of way you should dress. Well, yes, in terms of physical world, they certainly created who you are today. But before you came to the womb of the mother, before you chose these two as parents, during the birth, thereafter, and to this moment, they never know who you really are. As a soul, as a being of energy, as a Buddha to become, as a leader, as a liberator, they don't know. They could never know either, because they themselves have not found out who they are, what they have come to know in this world during this time-space reality, what they should do during this, what they have come to do during this time-space reality, and what they have come to become during this time-space reality. They themselves don't know. They were acting out of the conditions handed over to them. So do you. It's time for you to consider this and come into terms with the idea that your parents never loved you unconditionally. Know that they should love you unconditionally. And no parent should expect their child to love them unconditionally either. Expectation, disappointment, blame. This is a massive karmic loop. One must learn to escape this. And I'm not too sure about the Western world, but when it comes to Eastern world, there's this massive sense of obligation towards parents. And for this moment, I don't have the statistics, but if you look at the number of parents who suffer tremendously mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, socially during the latter part of their lives, maybe the number of parents who suffer like that is higher in terms when it comes to Eastern world. I'm not too sure. I have never done a research, so I don't have statistics, but I'm saying with just the things that I have observed during my lifetime, around 41 years. Consciously living 38 years, but yeah, altogether 41. Now, Most of the parents in the Eastern world feel unhappy when they die. They don't have a sense of purpose or fulfillment. They depend on children. There are not enough good quality elders' homes also in this part of the world. Not good quality ones. There are substandard ones. Because throughout their life, they never knew how to let go of the expectations they set on children. And they can continue to blame their children for their unhappiness. But they never knew it was the expectations that was letting them down continuously, and then finally in the moment of death, they don't have something that they can call theirs, at least their sense of self or conscious awareness. They haven't come home. So one must, as you listen to this, one must just make a decision to liberate, be you a parent or a child. Certainly all of our, unless you have given birth to your own biological child, you only can call yourself a child, but every other human being is a child of some other parent. So we all are children, but very few, or let's say those who have children can say that I'm a parent. So when you are a parent, you are a child too. So everything you have gone through as a child, you're going to do unconsciously as a parent. So if you suffocated as a child, you're bound to make your children suffocate. So if a child is listening to this, all our children, I understand, but I'm saying if you are a child means you don't have biological children yet. You are in a better place to make right decisions before you perpetuate your unconsciousness to another generation. So, as a child, you're not obliged to take care of your parents. This sense of obligation is really ugly. I have never ever met any single human being fulfill their obligation to 100%. That's the quality of being human. You can never do that. That's not possible. That's exactly the nature of being human. It's inhuman to expect that someone will fulfill their obligation in social roles or any other recognized, identified role in life, that you will fulfill all obligations. It's not possible. Because obligations, the idea of obligations comes from others' expectations. Others never know who you really are. They can never know. Only you can know who you really are. So you stop putting expectations on others. No, live in a way that others will create expectations around you in a way that you can't fulfill it. And it's always beautiful to forgive and forget. For things we thought we were not able to do for our parents or for our children, you just have to come into terms with it. If your heart is not free, you must talk to them and clarify, express, and just come into terms with it. The idea of obligation is really ugly. But you can continue to understand your children, continue to understand your parents, continue to understand your loved ones. Understanding is equivalent to love. So, in that sense, throughout our life, in the human form, as energy beings, what we have been doing is actually continually trying to understand this thing called life. Me, I, mine. We were trying to understand. We were never living life, but rather than trying to understand what it is every moment. But understanding, real understanding, equivalent to love. How do you know in a given time you got understanding? You have love in your heart. You have peace in your mind. How do you know you don't have understanding about life? Is that you don't have that love and warmth in your heart and peace in your mind. So if this resonates with you, take a moment to sit back relax, reflect. Your own mind, the bigger mind, the cosmic mind, the God mind, God himself or herself, the Buddha mind, the universe will guide you in the right direction. You just have to sit back, relax, and be in a receptive mode to receive such inspiration. And don't be surprised about the action you take and the beautiful results it brings you. People can take 2 actions in given time, human beings, either motivated action or inspired action. Motivated action comes from 2 sources of energy. Sometimes love and joy, kindness, all the so-called positive stuff, good stuff. And most of the time, motivated action comes through fear, worry, tension, pressure inside, lack, inadequacy. So motivated action generally actually brings stress and tension further. The person does not feel very comfortable how much ever the action he or she takes. Inspired action is very different. You have no reason or logic or sensible reasoning behind inspired action. You just feel like doing it, and you do it at the right time when you feel it. Strangely, it brings amazing results, and it can be felt throughout the body. It does not create any stress or tension or pressure or fear for the future, for that matter. It only releases you from bondage from the past and clear up path for the future. Because through inspired action, you bring happiness to the now. Now, one more important idea that I would like to plant as a seed of thought in your mind is about your decision about choosing your parents. What? You must be thinking, I chose my parents. Well, just like the parents would have worried many times, they wouldn't have chosen you as a child if they had a choice to choose, just like anything from the supermarket. I'm sure if you are genuine and honest enough, many times in your life you yourself would have thought, at least one occasion, why did I choose these parents? I mean, what on earth? Of course, children who have had difficult childhood would think more that way. But maybe children who have had, let's say, a wonderful childhood, a great relationship with their parents, most of the time would be giving the merits and say, like, I'm so grateful for these parents, right? They have better feelings towards their parents, and maybe very rarely they would even question, why did I choose these parents? Now, let me explain. Although you don't know or you don't remember how you chose your parents, I wish you that during your human life, during this time-space reality, that you will see how exactly you created your birth. Okay? So remember my words at that moment of truth. For the moment, it's a long journey, a short journey, whatever it is. I just wish that you will have that moment sooner or later. Now, how did you choose your parents? How did we choose our parents? There was a kind of binding and a liking and a attraction towards these 2 human beings. You don't remember this consciously, but it's in your awareness, it's in your consciousness, it's embedded in your subconscious mind. So in that process of choosing your parents, there was strong drawing towards them. You chose those personalities. It's just that you can't now remember the beginning. Okay? That we call as karma. Good or bad, either way, good or bad. Good karma made you to feel and think and act in a good way towards your parents. Bad karma made you to think, feel, and act in a bad way towards your parents. So you create your own karma. Karma means your own doings in terms of thoughts, words, and deeds. Okay? Karma is your thoughts, words, and deeds. So you think, you say, you act. So it's your own doing. So if you suffocate on your own doing, be it your mother, father, as your creators in your world, in your mental world, If you're suffocating, that's your own doing. So you can undo it anytime. All right? You can undo, you can unlearn, meaning you can undo karma. You really can. That's our message. You don't have to suffocate continuously. You suffocate because of your misunderstanding, lack of wisdom. I explained that earlier. So if you're suffocating your creation in any moment, be it a child or a parent, anyway, you lack understanding. So bring your understanding. That is what we do through our discourses. We help you bring understanding so that you can live a happily ever after life now. Not tomorrow, not next year, not after having all that money, but now. So let go of all expectations you had about your children. Let go of all expectations you had about your parents. Again, you're not obliged to provide everything your child is asking. You're not obliged to provide everything your parents are asking. That's not humanly possible to provide or satisfy all the obligations. And the word obligation itself is very ugly. You can only bring understanding to the table. I mean, how do you know you have broad understanding? It brings love, tremendous sense of love in your heart and peace in your mind. This can change cultures, and that's exactly what we want. Culture is a mass hypnosis. Something new has to be created by thought leaders. So be a thought leader. Be happy now. Just be happy. Only you know who you are. Don't expect anyone outside of you to know who you are. Only you can know who you are. Only you can define, redefine, keep on redefining who you are until you come to a complete satisfaction with yourself. Until you do that, how much ever others do things to you, say things to you, you won't be able to feel fulfilled. Momentarily, there will be some satisfaction and a positive but pressed and some happy hormone rising in your system, but that is very conditional. Our suggestion is for you to create an unconditional life. That is to liberate yourself from what the prisons you have created in your own mind. I wish you all the very best. I wish you good health and well-being, and I send you loads of love and blessings.